Thanks for joining us again here on Movie Watch, and as always, I'm Sara Capaloa here with your latest quarantine entertainment. This week we have quite a variety of movies to talk about, including one that I'm very excited about. But starting off, I really can't believe that they made another one of these movies. Yep, that's right guys, the 9th installment of the beloved Fast and Furious franchise is set to be released on May 28th. Fast and Furious 9 follows Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, whose crew and family members join together to battle one of the world's most talented assassins and high-performance drivers, his estranged brother, Jacob.
The world has a way of changing, but there's one thing that always stays the same. You miss the old life.
Do you?
Every day.
The soldiers. If you woke to wake up. We got the product. We got the tools.
Crank it all the way up.
We going wild. We on the loose. We are the truth.
Yes!
Were you guys expecting John Cena? Because I definitely wasn't. The new movie also sees the return of the fan favorite character, Han Lu, thought to be long dead. With a star-studded cast, many of you might have already heard about this summer's release of The French Dispatch. Set at an office of an American magazine in a fictional French city, the movie is described as a love letter to journalists and follows 3 separate storylines.
As you know by now, we have kidnapped your son.
Oh, shut up.
A message from the foreman. 1 hour to press.
You're fired.
Really?
Don't cry in my office.
Wes Anderson's latest film boasts a cast of Timothée Chalamet, Tilda Swinton, Bill Murray, Elizabeth Moss, William Dafoe, Christoph Waltz, and many, many more. Wow. Who are you gonna call? That's right, folks, the Ghostbusters. The upcoming installment of the iconic franchise picks up after 30 years of 1989's Ghostbusters 2. The sequel follows a family that moves to a small town to discover their connection to the ghost-catching business. Set to release on June 11th, Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, and Annie Potts come back to play their roles from the original movie, joined by Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Paul Rudd, and Carrie Coon.
Come on, darling.
It has a gunner seat?
After a disappointing postponement of the initial release, fans are itching to see Nia DaCosta's take on the Candyman. Like many films on this list, it was pushed back due to COVID-19. We've only seen glimpses of the director's vision, but it's enough to entice you with the haunting, eerie scenes.
I think I made a mistake. I brought him back.
Candyman isn't real!
Something's happening to me.
He had a purpose for you, to be another one of his terrible stories.
I guess he found me. I am the writing on the wall. The sweet smell of blood. Be my victim.
This is not real. It's not real. Candyman.
Set to release August 27th, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who recently won an Emmy for his work on Watchmen, stars as the film's lead. Oscar-winning director Jordan Peele co-wrote the script along with DaCosta and Wynn Rosenfeld. Thanks so much for joining me this week, and now we go back to SHIVANG, Crystal, and AYRISH for this week's movie review.
You're my favorite deputy.
You've got a friend in me.
Welcome to our movie quarantine watch. Well, where I am. Hi there, I'm here. Today we are going to talk about some interesting movies. So I have here Irish with me, Sarah, and Crystal with me. So let me introduce to my group. So this are my legendary group. If I talk about the cartoon movies, let me ask you guys, which are your favorite cartoon movies till now? Crystal.
I would have to go with Bugs Bunny.
Oh,
Any cartoon like with Bugs Bunny would have been my favorite.
yeah.
Or Tweety Bird. Those were my favorites. What about you, Irish?
I would say my favorite cartoon movie was Toy Story, which we are going to talk about today.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here we are. We are going to talk about Toy Story, the whole series. So we have around 4 parts. And I'm going to talk about the first part. Well, to be honest, first part, when I first saw the Toy Story, it was like a dream for me because I have some toys when I was young. I have some toys, and I would like to, see those toys, going up live, coming up live every night or uh, in a day, or when I'm not here or something like that. Because I wanted my toys to get alive. It's almost like night in a museum, but I know it's a Toy Story. I won't talk about night in a museum. I'll talk about Toy Story. Well, I'm talking about the Toy Story first part. Well, it got a massive hit in the market when it first came. Talking about the pre-production, the pre-production was a little bit confusing for the Toy Story 1 because there were so certain things to be discussed. Then the post-production. Well, if I talk about the dubbing artist, if I talk about the actors, so there are various kind of legendary actors and there are various kinds of voices that have been participated in this movie. And for that, I have the content.
Buzz Lightyear mission log. The local sheriff and I seem to be at a huge refueling station of some sort. You! According to my Nava computer.
Shut up! You shut up! You idiot!
Sheriff, this is no time to panic.
No, this is the perfect time to panic. I'm lost. Andy is gone, or they're gonna move from the house in 2 days, and it's all your fault!
The content. So see, here's the thing. So Toy Story 1 was a hit movie because, as said, the first impression is always the last impression. So Toy Story 1 has gained something $1 million. I do remember the amount. So it was around 6.2. I don't know. It was worldwide because Toy Story was so popular among the kids. And I remember that it has some crisp in it, the first part. If I talk about the remaining parts, so if I compare Toy Story 1 to 2, 3, 4, I personally like the Toy Story 1 story rather than the graphics and everything. So if I talk about the post-production, I didn't like the post-production of the movie. I would say I love the theme and I love the fighting between those two male alphas. I don't know why, but it was some kind of crisp and it was so funny. So for me, I would give 3 out of 5. No, 3.5 out of 5 to those kind of movies because I felt that Toy Story 1 has the best story lineup among second, third, and fourth. Coming up, we have Toy Story 2 that is going to present Irish.
Thank you, Shivang. Yeah, so Toy Story 2, I think it was released in 1999. I can't believe it was released in 1999. It's been so long, and whenever you see the movie, you just get so refreshed, and you see all those toys alive again, and your favorite Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Jesse, Zurg, everybody. I think Toy Story 2 was a bit off track, like unlike the first part when every toy was like the thing was only between all those Andy's toys.
Exactly.
and it wasn't from outside, and we didn't know if our toys from outside the world, I mean, they were alive. It was only between those their his neighbors toys and Andy's toys, and there were no other toys.
Yeah. So if I talk about this first part, so I have watched first, second, and third, probably 3, 4 times. And this is what I feel is the first story part. So each characters have given the equal screen timing, then the second and third part. So if you look into the first part, each character had their own specific moods, own specific comic timing, and own specific screen timing as well. If you look at second or third, it was just two male alphas, actually pulling the whole movie, you know. So I think first part. So for me, first part, because I love the first part. So for me, first part is that. What about you, Alex?
I think for the second part, the most screen time given to is to Woody,
Yeah.
and also Buzz Lightyear, because when the thief Al steals Woody and takes it to his shop, and after that it's almost 30 minutes are just given to Woody and the story over there, uh, story of Jesse, story of Stinky Pete, and I think Toy Story 2, I would rate Toy Story 2 around 3 out of 5. I would say I'll give Toy Story 1 5 out of 5 because it was so good, and it at that time Toy Story 1 was like nobody ever thought about their toys getting alive and then having their own thinking thoughts, their own family. It was so good. From I would say if you're getting bored and if you haven't watched Toy Stories, start from Toy Story 1 and then go from there, because it's you can't watch the second part and third part without watching the first part.
Okay, Irish. Thank you for that, Toy Story 2. I'm going to talk about Toy Story 3. Now, as we went from 1 to 2 to 3, Toy Story 1 probably has to be my favorite. What I liked about Toy Story 2 was that, it was a continuation of the story, kind of went adventurous. But Toy Story 3 made sense. It made sense if you went from 1, 2 to 3. Because Toy Story 3, Andy's 17, and he's going off to college. And he's going off to college, he's packing his things. And so he actually hasn't played with his toys in years. He hasn't played with Woody or Buzz or Mr. Potato Head or any of them. And so he's going off to college. So he's gonna bring Woody with him, but he put the toys in a garbage bag, and his mom thought he wanted to put them in the trash, so she took them out for the trash. The toys ran, they ran in a recycle bin back into the garage. They jumped in the mom's car, and she was actually going to Sunnyside Daycare with a donation box. The mom went to Sunnyside Daycare with a donation box with the toys that they thought they were going to be thrown in the garbage. But Andy didn't want to throw them away. The toys felt betrayed by Andy that he would throw them away, but he wasn't throwing them away. The mom took the garbage bag by mistake, thinking it was garbage. And so Toy Story 3 did it for me. I watched from 1, 2 to 3. I liked how, Andy's off to college. He's growing up now. Any of us can remember that as a kid, you had your favorite toys. You had playtime with the toys, either outside in the you go to the park and there's a sandbox and you play with your toys. So we can all relate to that. It was relatable. And I think that's what the Toy Story 3 movies did. It was relatable to everyone, whether you were growing up already or you're still a little kid. It was relatable to you. And you could remember playing with your toys. As you got older, you play with different toys. And sometimes you forgot about the toys altogether, And so that's what I liked about it. It was, relatable. I felt like I could have been part of the movie, That was everyone's life. Irish or Shivang, that was your life. You had toys as a kid. you grow up, you're off to college, you're not bringing your toys. Like, you might bring a toy for decoration in your dorm room, right? And
True.
so I really like that. The movies were relatable. They really spoke to you, to anyone growing up or who's grown up already. And if you're grown up already, you can think back and think, oh my goodness, you know, I had that toy, or I played with that toy. Now I'm all grown up, I don't play with toys anymore. But you know, that really hit home for me, and I really like that. I really like what they did. I really like what they did. So back to you, Shivang.
Yeah. So as we all have spoke about the first, second, and third part, we are going to jump to the fourth part. Well, from here, Crystal will actually tell us the facts and figures for the fourth part.
So Toy Story 4. Yeah, so I didn't think they needed to do a Toy Story 4, but they did a Toy Story 4. I didn't think they needed to. When it came out and stuff, you know, I felt that the trilogy 1, 2, and 3 was enough. 4 was just like a, you know, continuation of a story. Maybe they could make a few million in the box office, but it didn't do it for me. You know, 1 was my favorite movie, 2 was okay, Toy Story 3 made sense, but to do a 4th one, I didn't think I needed to. What are your thoughts, Irish?
Yeah, I would say the Toy Story 4 for me was until Toy Story 4 came, I was grown up and I thought Toy Story 4 wasn't, I wouldn't watch Toy Story 4, but for the plot I did. Actually, I saw the movie, but I thought I felt a bit disconnected with the feeling of toys getting alive, and me watching some of those toys. For me, the connection of toys and us humans was a bit disconnected in the fourth part, and I think the fourth part was a bit scary as well, because of some of the for some of those dolls, and the villain character in the fourth part, I think it was a bit too much for kids, I would say. What do you have to say about it, Shivang?
Um, to be honest, the fourth part of the Toy Story, I felt like it was exaggerated movie. I don't know why, because it had some good graphics in it, but then it was, you know, a zero story where you cannot connect anything, where you have been grown up, where the generations have not watched the Toy Story 1, but why then they would watch Toy Story 4th part? So here's the thing. So when we were kids, the Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, it was perfect. Like, it was like, it's okay. But now we are almost 18, 19, 20, and nowadays, kids do not watch cartoons anymore. Yeah, some of them have that thing that they would watch cartoon movies, but so I have seen this thing. The cartoon movies are not so hit in these days. Rather than, you know, if I talk about Marvel or Harry Potter movies, because they have something, a liveliness in it, because people can relate. People can make them idols. But cartoons and toys, people nowadays do not make their idols, because back there when I was kid, I used to make cartoons idols. I used to make Bug Bunny my comic idol. I used to make Johnny Bravo my gym idol. I don't know why, but I had those characters in my mind, from which I have, you know, some point of relevance. But as I say, everything happens for a reason. So Toy Story 4 has some good graphics in it. I'm not saying that Toy Story 4 is a trash movie. It has some good graphics. It has some sort of story, but not the story that was actually made back there in first, second, and third part. There you
Okay.
go.
Yes. Okay. The Toy Story 4, it was a $200 million budget, but they made over 1.73 billion. I didn't know they made that much. It came out in 2019. I felt like it came out in 2015 or even 2012. they actually came out in 2019, and they made, over $1 billion in the box office. But I didn't go to the theater and watch it. After 3, I was done. 3 made sense for me. Toy Story 3 was a good story, good ending. For them to do Toy Story 4 is just to make money. It was just to just make some more money off of it. But they kind of killed it. They kind of killed it. Killed its life. They kind of killed what it meant. Andy's gone off to college. Why do you need to make another one? But yeah, that's in a wrap. I think those are the Toy Stories. And this week I'd give the trilogy maybe a 7 out of 10. I'd give Toy Story 1 10 out of 10, Toy Story 2 maybe a 7 out of 10, Toy Story 3 maybe a 9 out of 10, Toy Story 4. But if you want to watch Toy Stories from the beginning, from part 1 all the way through, go ahead. 2 thumbs up.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this week. We will be back again with a new series. Thanks for listening. Me, Irish, Sarah, and Crystal. Thank you so much, guys. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.